All righty. So we all feel doubt at some point in time, right? So, and that doubt, when we feel it, when it comes up and it hits us, right? That doubt doesn't mean that you are not confident, that we are unable to be confident just because we're feeling doubt. It means we're human, right? So everybody feels doubt. Now, and confidence doesn't come from a lack of self doubt. Confidence comes from your ability to take action despite the doubt that you are feeling. So, tonight, we are going to expose a couple of the misbeliefs about confidence and talk about how to build a lasting confidence, even when you feel like you don't know what the fuck you're doing, because often that happens, right? So, welcome back to Launch Your Business Live, where we make making money online clear, simple, and successful. So you can build wealth and independence. You can work from home and turn that part time business into your full time income. Now, if you don't know me, my name is Marianne Lombardi, and I'm the founder and CEO of Marianne Lombardi Coaching. I am an executive turned founder and author, a former educator, and the single parent of the coolest teenager on the planet. Now, I've been helping small business owners thrive for more than 20 years. You know, it's weird saying more than 20 years because I don't feel like I've been doing this for that long, but the reality is I have. And my mission is to help you. So let's jump right in and start talking about some of those misbeliefs. First, I want to remind y'all that confidence is a skill, not a trait. Okay. Confidence is not something that is delivered through your DNA thanks to your parents, right? It's not something that like the lucky few inherit through their genes and the rest of us are kind of shit out of luck. So it is something that you can build. And yes, some people are maybe naturally more confident and it may come easier for them, but that doesn't mean that we can't learn it. It also doesn't mean that those naturally confident people don't feel self doubt, right? Because doubt hits everybody. So confidence is a skill, it's not a trait. And like any skill, it's something that can be developed, it's something that can be practiced, and it's something that can be deployed when and where you need it. Now, our skills are they're all like the different expertise that we have that help us accomplish our goals. And those skills get better through practice and performance, right? Some things we may have be able to do better organically, naturally. But most of the time, when we're learning a new skill, when we're getting better at a skill, we get better at it through this trial and error, through this practice and performance. And the more we use those skills, the better we get at it. So, like all of our other skills, confidence is going to be developed by its continued practice and use. So, we're going to talk about how we do that. Now, second misbelief is that confidence is not contingent on your belief in yourself. All right. You don't have to believe in yourself to be confident. The word confidence comes from this Latin word fidere, right? Which means to trust. And at its core, confidence is the state of feeling certain about something, right? Like trusting something. But the key to it is defining what that something is, what that thing you put your trust in. And we end up putting this enormous amount of pressure on ourselves when we make us that container, right? That thing that we trust. We think we are told like over and over again that if we trust and believe in ourselves, anything is possible. And that sounds nice, right? That sounds awesome. But if you think about it, that's a lot of pressure, right? It makes our confidence dependent on this cocktail of like high self-esteem and positive self-talk and killer self-promotion, all of these things. It makes it dependent on that. And yes, improving our self-esteem, limiting that crappy negative talk that's happening in your head, and increasing your ability to promote yourselves are important. They're important skills that we all got to work on, and they are key to improving our lives and our businesses. But requiring them to fuel our confidence puts this unnecessary burden on us, right? It's like putting this big gate in front of your confidence and requiring you to unlock it by remembering like your middle school locker combination, which I couldn't remember. I can't even remember the name of my middle school. Now, not all of us have high self-esteem or are able to control that nasty voice. And research shows that there's this huge gap between women and men in their ability to self-promote. So sometimes our self-esteem is high, right? Sometimes our doubt gets the best of us. Sometimes we're able to ask for what we want and demand it and promote our accomplishments. And other times we just like crawl into a ball and like don't want to see the world. Okay. So our experience of self-esteem, self-doubt, self-talk, and self-promotion are emotional, right? They're going to ebb and they're going to flow. And if we put our confidence in the hands of that emotional roller coaster, we're setting ourselves up for a ride that's not going to help us reach our goals. Okay. So your confidence is not contingent on your belief in yourself. So, the third big thing we need to talk about and state and put out there on the table is that you are not the problem, okay, of your confidence, right? You're not the problem. There are historical, cultural, and social systems at play that have been built to keep women, gender nonconforming, other marginalized communities from having access to opportunity. And our self worth develops in large part due to the value that's placed on our presence in society, right? The roles we're expected to play and our actions and choices. And those things have been historically confined and structured and limited. If you think about it, girls and boys are raised very different ways by their parents, by caregivers, by the community. And those caregivers aren't necessarily trying to mess us up, right? They're not necessarily trying to be assholes and dicks about it, but it has an impact in how we feel about ourselves. And it has an impact when we try to go live our lives. So, for example, if we have doubts in our ability to manage our money, to invest, to price our services, it's not a surprise when research shows you that parents pay kids identified as boys twice as much allowance as they do their girls, right? Kids that are identified by girls. Okay. And in one study, 65% of financial articles aimed at women are telling them that they're excessive spenders, right? That they're encouraged to find bargains and clip coupons and control those splurges, where all the articles that are aimed at men are telling them to dare to invest and spend, increase their power. So, although progress has been made in all of these areas, it's a sobering reminder that laws that kept married women from employment were still in effect in the 1940s. Laws, right? Laws. If you were married, you could not get a job in certain parts of the country in the 40s. The Equal Credit Act is my favorite one. The Equal Credit Act wasn't passed until 1974, which meant that women, like my mom, if she wanted to, couldn't have accessed a business loan without the cosign of a man before that time. 1974. That's in my lifetime. Okay. So, my point in all of this is to say that context matters. This history of gendered raising, oppressive, restrictive laws, expectations of what we should not say or do or sound like or look like or be like or identify as, all of those kind of things have an impact on how we feel about ourselves and how others treat us in return. So, back to the point, it is not your fault if you have a bad week of negative self-talk. It is not your fault if you struggle with self-limiting beliefs. It is understandable. Those feelings and those beliefs are going to ebb and flow as you work through them, as we work to understand them, and as we change the systems that perpetuate them. So it's vital to remember that you are not the problem. So this idea, this goes back to the one before, that you have to believe in yourself as the only access to confidence, does not take into consideration context. Okay. So, fourth, bring this all together, is that confidence comes from doing, not believing. This common approach to building confidence suggests that we must believe in ourselves in order to have confidence. Then we can use that confidence to take action, and those actions will then lead us to achieve our goals. Now, this is backwards. Okay. Confidence is going to follow action. It's not the other way around. Confidence is developed through the continued commitment to action. So when we take action towards our goals, to our dreams, to whatever we're trying to do, depending on the results of those actions, we adjust and we act again. And as those actions start to lead us to results, we develop confidence. And we develop trust, here's that trust word, that our actions are going to lead to success. So that trust we talked about is placed in the action, right? That Latin word fidere means to trust. And at its core, confidence is the state of feeling certain about something, trusting something. That something is that our actions will lead to results. Okay. So as we become more confident, we grow to believe that we will take the right action and we achieve a positive result. We feel stronger, we feel more capable, and we believe in ourselves more. We believe that we will take the right action. So you don't need to always know the right or the perfect thing to do, but you need to do something. Your confidence is going to grow every time you take an action towards your goal. So, to build our confidence, what do we need to do? We need to develop a bias for action. And developing that bias for action is like building a habit. And I don't know if you've read any of James Clear's books, or he's got a great newsletter, by the way. We should put that in the comments, just access to some of James Clear's stuff, because he's the habit guru. And he has this quote that I like. He's like, all behavior is driven by the desire to solve a problem. Sometimes the problem is that you notice something good and you want to obtain it. Sometimes the problem is that you are experiencing pain and you want to relieve it. Either way, the purpose of every habit is to solve that problem that you're facing. So if you want to solve the problem of confidence, developing the habit of action is going to get it done. And it's worth noting that inaction has consequences, right? It has its costs. Because inaction is going to breed more inaction, because the longer you don't do something, the longer you just wait and do nothing and don't take action, the harder it becomes to take that first step. But the reverse is true, right? Once you do take action, momentum starts to build and it becomes easier to keep taking action. Inaction also leads to regret. So if you want to make a change in your life, if you want to spend more time with your kids, if you want to improve your relationship with your partner, if you want to change careers, it requires you to take a chance, to have conversations that are new, to take action and build new habits, because no change is going to happen without that action. And if you don't take that action, that leads to regret, right? Because time keeps passing without any change happening. And the other thing is that inaction keeps you from reaching your full potential. By taking action, you're going to improve those relationships, you're going to start that business, you're going to make that career change, you're going to follow your dream, and all of that opens up a whole world of possibilities. Okay? So the first thing that we have to do to build our confidence is develop that bias for action. The second thing we have to do is we have to prioritize the heck out of our mental health, because you are your most important asset in anything. When you are strong, when you are stable, when you are emotionally rich, when you are cared for, you are capable of doing great things. When you are drained, burnt out, mentally and emotionally bruised, and uncared for, it is impossible to do anything. Okay? So we have to make our mental and emotional health a priority, because it makes everything else possible. It makes everything else easier, and it makes us stronger. Okay? So to build our confidence, we need to develop a bias for action. We need to prioritize our mental health. And the third thing we've got to do is to stop fighting the doubt. Because doubt is going to come up, it's going to go, right? And remember, confidence doesn't come from that lack of self-doubt. It comes from taking action despite the doubt. Okay? So don't fight it. You let the wave of doubt hit you and then let it pass. Have you ever been in that situation where, like, you really want to cry and you try so hard to fight crying, and what does that make you do? Cry more, right? It makes you want to cry harder. And then that makes you mad. And so you fight that feeling of crying more and crying harder. And so then you really cry, right? So the more you fight something, the more it's going to linger. So you've got to let the wave hit you and then let it pass. Okay? So don't fight the doubt. So building your confidence is about developing a bias for action. It's about prioritizing our mental health, and is about not fighting the doubt. Okay. So to recap, we talked about 4 misbeliefs about confidence, or 4 things we got to understand about confidence, right? First, that confidence is a skill, not a trait. Second, confidence is not contingent on your belief in yourself. Third, you are definitely not the problem. Fourth, confidence comes from doing, not believing. And then those 3 steps to building your confidence is developing a bias for action, prioritizing your mental health, and not fighting the doubt when it hits you. So take a second and let this wash over you, right? Like, think about it. And if you are not on our email list to get the replay, like, let us know either in the comments or DM us or something like that. And we will make sure that you are on the replay list. You can get a copy of this and go back and look at it, because you are capable of great and amazing things. And building your confidence is totally possible, even if you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Okay. Thank you. Have a good night.